Okay, it's a couple of minutes after 10 o'clock. I'll call the Commissioners' meeting for Wednesday, January 2nd, 2013 to order. The first item on the agenda will be election of Chairman, Vice Chairman, and Clerk of the Board of Commissioners. It's a 2-year term, and so nominations would be open, and I would call on Commissioner Babson to make a recommendation.
I'll make a motion that we nominate Commissioner Sorensen as Chairman of the Board of Commissioners.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further nominations?
I make a motion to nominate Commissioner Babson as Vice Chair.
Okay. I'll second that.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, we should be voting.
Separately or individually, or rather?
We should vote on it separately. So we'll hold yours and my second. All those in support of the motion for Dave Sorensen to be chairman of the Board of Commissioners say aye.
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 And aye. Okay, nominations now open for vice chair.
I already make mine.
You made your nomination. I'll second it. Any further nominations? Seeing none, all those in support of the motion to make Commissioner Babson vice chairman, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, nominations now open for clerk.
I'll make a motion to nominate Commissioner Kenney to be clerk.
I'll second the motion. Any further nominations? Seeing none, all those in support of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and so voted. Okay. We probably should, this is sort of a brief meeting. You've seen the agenda, but I would open it up for the public if you have any input. Yes?
I was wondering if the new commission would take a look at the grievances that have been filed and the results of said grievances to see if there's anything that can be released.
Can be released, okay. Yes?
How far back does the reporter want to go on the grievances?
Well, I'd like to go back to the re-grievance. We'll look at all 4 of them. I guess there's 4 of them now.
Okay.
And there's only the results of 3.
Say that again?
There's only the results of 3, as I understand it.
Okay.
Kenney, Woodburn, and
Yeah,
Perry.
okay.
And then the next one, we'll deal with that when time comes.
Okay.
And does that seem like a thing
Reasonable? Yes. I see no reason why we can't. We'll take a look at it and see what can be released.
Okay.
Well, we also have to see if this attorney-client privilege.
Right.
Like the attorney said that it files and send an email around, we need to see what can be also changed over.
Mhm.
Because if it is privileged by a privileged board, it cannot be changed over.
What's happened in the past is that when we had a non-public session and an attorney was in here with us, we recorded those minutes, but now we won't record those minutes any longer. It's a attorney-client privilege, so minutes are not required. And some of our non-public minutes have that information in it, so we'd have to take those out.
Could I just follow up?
Yes.
So you're going to have a meeting with an attorney, and you're not going to write anything down about what he says? I mean, that doesn't sound very, it doesn't sound like you'll have a very reliable record of what the attorney told you, other than your memories, if you don't take minutes or write down what they say.
I believe that when we have county attorney client privilege, is that it's something that's going to be taken action immediately and not something that would continue on for a period of time. I could be wrong on that, but that's the way I look at it. If anybody else has got any opinion?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think if it is legal consultation, no minutes is going to be taken. If it is certain personnel issues, I think minutes will be taken.
Can I just ask Commissioner Babson if he's okay with that?
I'd like to check with the county
attorney?
association and find out. I can see some instances where if it's a county attorney privilege that it wouldn't be, but I can also see plenty of times when the attorney's in here and we should be taking minutes. So I'd like to check with
Betsy
the
Miller?
association,
Yeah.
Betsy Miller, and find out what the correct procedure is.
Okay. Anybody, any other further comments from the general public? Seeing none, I think probably the first item we should look at is the minutes of December. Can't be December 5th, can it?
Yeah, you didn't approve that. You didn't approve it December.
Oh, okay.
This is the one that you rewrote or something?
This is the one that I was asked to retype
Okay.
with the corrections.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so
I
yeah.
wasn't here, so.
Yeah, then another thing, I wasn't here too, I was absent. And she wanted to have it
Yeah.
retyped. So actually, Commissioner
are the-
Solomon should actually, last time what she should
Yeah.
approve it with corrections.
Yeah.
And it was stable. So this is retype.
I would
and
make it-
I was not, I don't, let me see, even, I think there was,
Do you have any corrections to these
I don't know.
minutes?
Just one grammatical one, which is very simple. But, Mr. Chairman, I would hope from this point on, and I personally will not approve any minutes that say, for more comments, look to GovernmentOversite.com. Each one runs a private business.
Yeah.
There's no telling in 20 years if somebody wants to look something up, whether we'll still have the technology even to read his tapes. And I would hope that, as I read to you from the local government brochure, that pertinent comments from the public should be recorded without the reference of going to GovernmentOversite.com.
Okay. Secretary, you have that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
well, I think we just, we can tell the public again that the meeting is also on GovernmentOversite.com, if they want to review the meeting.
Okay. Any further?
I think Commissioner Kenney's got a good idea. The end of every minute put down,
Put it down.
this can
Yeah.
be seen on GovernmentOversite.com. I think
Because
that's a
some
very good
people are
idea.
new, they didn't read it, and suddenly they go in to read it, and then they see, they can watch the meeting.
Okay, do you have any further questions? Any further corrections?
No.
Then can I hear a motion to approve December 5th minutes?
You were the only one present.
Well, if anybody feels,
Can I,
Mr. Babson was, was
just,
present.
I just get it. Well, he
Okay.
was present, but not as a commissioner. He
So
was,
what
he
would
was
you-
in the public. Can I just read it and see what she did? Because I just get it here in front.
okay.
Here is a copy of the original minutes with all the corrections written on it.
And that
Mr.
is
Chairman,
what
I
you
don't
get.
feel in a
Okay,
position to
this is
vote.
what
I
I
wasn't
got.
on the board.
Okay.
Okay.
You want to have time to read the minutes?
Yeah, I just want to read it because I have
Okay.
no idea what she,
Okay.
yeah, so. Oh, you want to read it now?
Yep,
Okay.
we got to get rid of this one.
Oh, okay. I see at the end, motion carried to go into non-public session, personal reasons. So you guys went into non-public December 5th? I need those non-public minutes too then. Those
Yeah,
are,
Dorothy
those are,
took the minutes.
she took them?
Yeah,
Because those are not approved.
that's right.
I need to see it. I don't know
Yeah.
what you go into non-public for.
Yep. Yep. Well, Commissioner Kenney is reading the minutes. A couple of items that was brought up at that meeting, and that is, one, where did the money come from for the 501c3 for Friends of Mountain View Community? Where did they come from? They came from the Bean Fund, and not the Doobie Fund. The Bean Fund is another fund that where somebody has contributed money to the nursing home for general
Welfare.
use or welfare of all of the residents in the nursing home. It was felt that that's where that money should come from, and so that's what happened. I believe it was $800, something like that. I don't know the exact figure, but that's where it came from. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, for anybody that would like to see it, it's here on this piece of paper. It's been paid, and where it was paid to. So no question that the taxpayer didn't pay for it.
And is that a statement from the bank? What kind of statement is that? Can I see that?
Sure. This is from the accounting office downstairs.
Yeah, but I need to see the fund, what kind of trust fund it is, and what the purpose is of it.
Well,
And
look
if you read
downstairs
it,
and look it
it
up.
said editing, it said edit, and it said adjustments. So if I have a statement from this fund and from the bank where it is coming from, that would be great.
I would suggest that you talk with Kathy Armstrong. She should have a
Because funds are set up for specific purposes.
she should have an
So
account of where it came
we're getting
from.
money from one fund into another fund.
Another item on that minutes, we need to check to find out what kind of insurance coverage we had for the pole barn and where that stands. I know the adjuster came and looked at it, but I have no idea as to what coverage we had and whether they did cover it.
So it said here, if you look at the minutes, usually Ann Hamilton did a class, but she has had her duties reallocated, but, so we have to put a T, but the co-op, but she's no longer doing that.
Yeah,
What else? But the cooperative extension said?
Cooperative extension,
That she's no
correct.
longer doing that?
right.
Oh, okay.
Their job description has been changed. Instead of trying to read the minutes at a regular meeting, Nancy, would you go through the process that you were told as to how the minutes leave here? You take the minutes, notes as well as recording,
Correct.
and what happens after that?
After that, I go home and
Mhm.
go over all of my minutes. If I have any questions, then I go back and listen to the recording,
Mhm.
change as needed,
Yeah,
type them up, and I have been giving them to Lori,
to Lori.
and she has been emailing them to
Okay,
the commissioners.
okay. How long does that take?
It takes me about a day.
So do you
It
do
only
it,
takes me about a day.
you do it the day after our meeting?
Yes.
So Thursday is the day that
Yes,
you
and I
get it
usually,
back?
no, I brought them in Friday morning around
Friday morning.
8:30 in the morning.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
What do you mean you bring them around?
I brought them
Physically come
to
here?
physically bring the copy, the hard copy, to Lori.
But you know, you can email the minutes to her.
Yes, my computer, she wasn't able to open.
Oh,
Oh.
Okay, she wasn't able to open when I sent it out, so I got a new computer for Christmas.
Oh, okay.
So that problem should be taken
So
care
you'll
of.
be able to, yeah.
I also have a
Okay.
question, if that's
Okay.
okay about the minutes.
Yep.
Is it true that I should do the minutes and put draft on them at the top or through the middle of them, and then the minutes come to you? And then the reason, if they need to be changed for something,
Yeah.
you change them in longhand, they're not to be retyped. Is that correct?
no, I think they should be retyped.
What do you mean with retype?
They should not be retyped, that they should be corrected in longhand at the meeting?
I don't know,
What's the
feeling
May I
of
defer
the
to
board?
you?
Go ahead.
We've had this discussion numerous times, David.
Mhm.
You can't, once the minutes are taken, they're presented in draft form.
Right, yep,
You review the draft at your meeting,
Yep.
and you change it on the form right then. You
Okay.
can't go back and retype it 50 million times. That's not the correct
Okay.
procedure.
That's a lot of work if you start retyping every time.
Well, between
Okay.
you and Dorothy, you were having the poor clerk retype them a
Well,
bunch of times.
she
That's
didn't
wrong.
agree.
You
She
do it
was
right there at a
retyping the whole
meeting.
stuff. I
You
know.
do it right there at a meeting.
So-
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then there's no question of who said what, how it was done, because it's done in public.
So
Okay.
you just take the minutes, like
Mhm.
now you record it.
Yes.
You type it and you
Yes.
send
And
it to the
email it
office.
to-
You can send it to the commissioners, to everyone at one time. You don't have to send it only to her, you send it to us, to everyone. And we will review it and we will come back the following week and make the corrections into public.
That's fine.
okay,
Yes.
thank you.
And you can just correct it herein, and
You-
because the corrected one is going up too. If you correct it, you send it back to the office, to Laurie, and she will put it up.
Do you have any other questions?
I'm sure I'll
Regarding the
think of
minutes.
some, but
Okay.
not at this time.
Okay, very good. Well, bring them up whenever you have them.
Thank you,
You're doing a good job.
thank you.
I have to say, you're the only one that you are so fast. I got it 2 times on
Oh.
Thursday. I'm like, whoa, this
Thank
is
you.
fast.
Thank you.
Do you want to continue reading those? So we can move on?
I have only this. I have only 1 page.
I would ask Commissioner Babson, he he put some notes down for January 2nd meeting, and I'd like him to review those and see what changes or what policies we should have regarding the items that he has suggested. So, Mr. Babson, if you would.
My pleasure, Mr. Chairman. I left a copy on the table for anybody that wanted to look at it, and each one of the commissioners has a copy. Number one was to have the agenda on the website by Monday noontime. I don't know whether that means we have to send a note to the department heads and tell them that they have to have the material in by 9 o'clock on Monday morning. But one of the things that's been a source of irritation over the years is the agenda hasn't been there, it has been there, where is it? Let's put one person in charge of it with a backup, and by noontime, that should be on the website every week so everybody knows what the agenda is for the day. And while we're talking about the agenda, let's drop down to number 5, which resulted from the day we had a non-public meeting that was to discuss leaving your keys in the car, which obviously isn't non-public material. And at the time, we were told the reason that got on there as non-public was because the commissioners didn't know beforehand what the topic of the non-public session is. So I am requesting that we tell anybody that wants a non-public session that they notify the commissioners ahead of time what the non-public request is about, so we don't fall into the same trap of getting in here and arguing about whether it's non-public or public. That's unnecessary and shouldn't happen.
Okay.
We can make the decision whether it's non-public or not, and then tell the individual. Number 2, I've been going over the nursing home a couple of times in the last couple of weeks, and I've been asked a question twice, and that is, who does job review for the directors? And I'm thinking to myself, that's a pretty good question. I've been coming 6 years, and I don't ever remember a non-public session to review the work of the directors. And I think it's our responsibility to review their job performance, and I would like to know what the procedure here is for doing that.
We have a form, an evaluation form that we can fill out on each of our department heads, much like they do the people that work for them. It should be done once a year, and different departments do it differently. Some do it on their anniversary, some do it all at once, one particular time of the year. And we can decide how we want to do that. If we want to do it the first month of the year, say January, we can do it. I would suggest that we do it like in September of each year, so that when it comes up time for budgets, then we have something to base our recommendation on. So we do have the forms, and we can do that. Along those same lines, we need to inspect the jail every 6 months. 3 of us have done it. It'll be up to your time to do it within the next few months.
I'll be glad to do it, thank you. Well, we get these forms, Mr. Chairman.
Mhm.
I haven't been here, so I don't know. Do you have them fill it out, and do you do a review, or do you just take it in here? How does a person working here that's done a good job get a raise, and someone that isn't doing a good job get kicked in the can and told you got to do a better job?
We have not filled out a written form for each of the department heads. We have talked about their performance and their raises, what little raises they have gotten in the past, which there's been only 1 or 2. Otherwise, they get the same that everybody else gets, percentage-wise, and they will get the same dollar increase as everybody else gets, based on a 40-hour week if they're on salary.
Well, I would suggest that policy needs to be
Mm-hmm.
looked at.
Yep. We can change that.
For lots of reasons, but we should be sitting down with the directors of each of the departments.
Mm-hmm.
I think we ought to do it once a quarter, but at least once a year, we should be giving
Yeah.
them a job evaluation.
Yep.
The next thing was,
A point of order, can I
Yeah.
ask a question? Because what we were talking about. So the department heads are appointed, correct?
They're appointed by us, yeah.
So they are appointed.
And they
So
are-
how long is the appointment? Do we have to reappoint them every
No.
2 years? Or
No,
if you
we
appoint
haven't.
them?
No.
So how does it work? So you appoint them and that's it?
They're appointed, and if they don't do their job, then they are dismissed.
So you don't reappoint them every 2 years? You
No.
don't look at it
We haven't.
after 2 years and said you need to be
That'd
reappointed?
be a good question for the New Hampshire Association of
Because
Counties.
I was talking to another commissioner of another county, and
Mm-hmm.
he's telling me he always looked at the department heads. He's go over all their records and everything, because he need to reappoint them every 2 years. And I said, that is not what they do in Carroll County.
We have never,
So, I don't know.
never done that in the 12 years I've been here.
Yeah, so I don't know, maybe you don't do it here. So I asked.
Okay,
But we do have to look at the department heads also.
Mhm.
They need to be evaluated because. I haven't
Point of
seen-
order,
okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Yep.
Might I ask a question about
Sure.
this? Did the county commissioners adopt a personnel policy and procedure for non-union employees?
Yeah,
Are department heads already included in that policy and procedure manual?
they should be, because they're non-union.
So
Yep.
I was wondering if you might defer to
We'll
that to
review
see if
those.
you've already
Mhm.
adopted policies that would address that.
Okay, thank you.
There you're talking about, I think that Commissioner Babson should get one of those. Did you get one of those, reference guy? Because we need to prove it. Maybe you have any suggestions?
He probably hasn't got
Does he
it.
have one? I think he needs
You got
one.
an extra one?
No, I got only mine. I just got it last week because they changed a couple things.
What is it?
This thing, the personal
Personal
reference
reference
guy.
guy.
If
Oh,
you
no, I
can,
didn't get
yeah,
one.
if you get one and can look at it, if you have any suggestions.
okay, thank you. I will.
Okay, want to move on to the number
Yes.
3?
In going over and sitting down at around noontime with the farm boys and their selected guests, the question came up from one of the inmates, why they aren't allowed to work in the nursing home. And the best I could remember was that, as I told him, I said, you wear an orange suit and you're in here not because you obey the law, and that's kind of scary to some residents and their parents. But thinking about it, this inmate told me that we were, I think, one of two that didn't allow him to work in the nursing home. And of course, I asked him how he knew, and he said, well, he'd had some experience. So, anyway, we have a young man out there that's a culinary graduate of a cooking university, and he's throwing bales of hay. I mean, he could be in the kitchen putting together some pretty nice meals or special meals for people in the nursing home, and I think we ought to explore the policy again with Jason.
Okay.
And the other one is this is one that really kind of bugs me, but we have two young men out there that are, well, not one young man and one older man, that are habitual offenders, and talking with one of them, you know, you couldn't use the word violent with this individual. I mean, he's just been caught driving illegally too many times. And his suggestion is that we talk to the delegation and see if we can't get them moving on a habitual offender's working driver's license. It's ridiculous that he's out there for $125 a day, when if he had a license, he could, and he was out, he could at least drive to work and go home. And I started thinking, I think that's a pretty good idea. Maybe you have to get caught the third time and you get a work license and you're breaking the law, then maybe you go over here and spend some time. But a habitual offender is a mandatory a year in jail, no good time, no nothing, and I don't think we're gaining anything by putting somebody in, over here for, that has a bad driving record. DWI is a different situation, but speeding or going over the
Minor.
yellow line or whatever.
Okay.
And that's my there's a sixth suggestion, and that is that, that we put on the agenda every week that we'll have a discussion period when we can bring up things like this and talk about. Rather than getting
Okay.
down to the last minute and say, I've got one more thing I want to say, and then you get into a discussion.
Okay, regarding your last item, number 6, add Commissioners' discussion period. Could I suggest that we add that on to the agenda after our normal Commissioners meeting, after public input, that we then have a discussion period whereby just the Commissioners do the discussion portion of
I
it?
think that's my suggestion.
Okay. So we'll add that to the agenda at the end of each meeting.
Oh, you said after which public input are you talking about?
Public
First
meeting.
and second? Or-
The public input after our normal Commissioners meeting, at the end of our Commissioners meeting, we have public input, so it would happen after that.
Okay, and then if the public wants to stay and listen,
Yeah.
they're welcome to, yeah,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong
Yeah.
with that.
Okay. All right. Okay, along with, how are you doing on the minutes?
Yes, I have at the end, it said, motion carried to go into non-public for personal reasons. If there's anything can be spoken of after, it will be spoken. A roll call vote in favor, motion carried. I like to put in who make the motion when you went into non-public,
I made the motion.
and who make the second needs to be put in.
It had to be,
Dorothy.
Dorothy Solomon.
And then there is a roll call vote taken, all in
Mhm.
favor. Was there a time,
Right.
do you
Yeah.
know? And a time should be put in,
I
so we
don't-
follow correct procedures.
I don't
So we
remember.
need
I don't
person who
remember
make the
the time.
motion, the second, the roll call vote, and a time.
You know, I would suggest maybe that you get in touch with Commissioner Solomon and see if she has the minutes, and that should show in those
Is
minutes.
there a time here?
No.
Oh, there's no time.
Here's the page. There's no time.
Oh, okay. Do you know how much? No.
Okay,
Okay.
Okay.
any
And-
other corrections?
I requested to put my statement in that the money was not taken from the Doobie Fund, but the statement what I made, that I brought a bank statement and showed that the money was not taken out. My statement is not really in. It just said that I asked to put my statement in, but the whole statement is not in.
So what would your statement want to be?
The statement is that Commissioner Kenney brought the bank statement in from the Doobie Fund, and there was no money taken out for the 501c3 filing fee of $850.
Okay.
So for this time, I will go ahead and second it.
Okay. All those in support of the motion, say aye. Aye, it's so voted.
I abstain.
You abstain, you're correct. Okay. What I would like to do is I'd like to ask the other two commissioners to agree to looking in more detail in the different departments. Not saying that each commissioner is responsible for all the departments here in the county complex. However, there are times when we can't all be together to look at those departments. When something comes up and it needs to be looked into in some detail, that commissioner responsible for that department would do that and then report back to the full board. And I'd like to ask Commissioner Babson if he would take care of the jail, any requirements or any requests that come up, that he do some further research or looking into whatever issues that may come about. Not to say that everybody else can't, but that he would have that more of that responsibility. And I'd ask Commissioner Kenney if she would look at the Sheriff's Department and the County Attorney's Office on any items that may come up in those two departments. And yes.
May I also take the farm, because if you go in there to discuss the farm, I find that the inmates are in there and you find out a lot about what's going on in the jail from the other side of the wall.
Okay.
And
All
I'm
right.
willing to take the farm and the jail if you let me.
Yeah. And I'll take the nursing home and registry of deeds and whatever else is left.
Yes,
Okay.
I will do the county attorney office and the sheriff's department, and I also want to thank the county attorney, what we had, Tom DeHurst, and the county sheriff, what we had, Sheriff Conley, for the service to the county.
Okay. Okay. We've had some meetings where some people have been a little outspoken about certain items, accusations have been made and so forth. If it's okay with the board, and I would stand corrected on what I'm about to say, but any accusations that are made against any individual commissioner would have to be backed up with some kind of written information to go along with it. When we have accusations against us and they're not supported, it makes us look bad. So from now on, any accusations that are made against a commissioner within the board would have to be in writing and would have to have documentation as to back up for that type of accusation. Mr. Babson?
I'll go farther, Mr. Chairman, that if somebody comes in and makes an accusation and says, well, it's on the tape, that they supply us with the date and the time on the tape, so we don't spend 2.5 hours looking through the tape to try to find the criminal. That be part of what they have to provide.
Okay.
Yes,
Do you have any
Commissioner Kenney now. Yes, of course. I'm surprised because when someone make false accusations against me, nothing happened. You were quick in 5 minutes and just hired an attorney to investigate me. And now suddenly you want to start to change stuff.
I think we're starting a new year.
I'm really surprised that you are doing that. You should have done it long time ago. You should have looked in what the commissioner is saying, what documentation I have, instead of running off and spending taxpayers' money and look only at one side. And look only at what the person who filed the grievance said. You need to look at both sides. What other commissioners have to say, what other person has to say. But you were one-sided.
I agree with...
And that is how the investigation was done. When I talked to Swartz, he said everything what I bring forth, he is not looking into my issues. Somebody else needs to look into. He said when there is a grievance filed, you look only at what the grievance bring forward the griever. You look only at that. You don't look at, oh, I have all the stuff somebody needs to look in. When we had the Perry grievance, that was different. He brought things what the commissioners did forward, but suddenly we had all kinds of documentation here against Perry. He couldn't bring forward what only the commissioners did. That was treated different, but suddenly the commissioners had his personal records here. We had all kinds of documentation to go after him. That's why I left, because I thought it was wrong. I didn't get that chance.
Okay, so your point is, you don't agree with what I just stated?
Well, we should have always documentation, but like I said, you should have done it from the get-go. Not that we have complaints now against certain commissioners, so we're going to do things different.
No, I'm saying from now
You see?
on, anybody that comes in with accusations.
We need equal treatments for all the employees too. We cannot have certain employees, they can do whatever they want, and other, we're going to punish them or terminate them.
See, I think,
All the employees needs to be treated equal, because I see a lot what is going on here. Certain can do whatever they want, they get away, we just hire an attorney and do all kinds of stuff.
see, this is exactly
That
what I'm
needs-
getting to. You're saying now that some people can get away with everything.
That
That's what I'm
happened.
saying. I'd like to see documentation to that effect. That's what I'm trying to get to.
Okay, will still supply, I have lots of documentations.
Okay. Anything else that you want to, any member of the board want to bring up at this point in time?
I had a question about, did you get a chance to look at this reference guide, that personal reference guide?
I've been through it, yep.
You've been through it?
Yeah.
There was a question over the personal records, when I was falsely accused, asking for personal records and all that nonsense. And then you make a motion to give everything to the HR director. You make a motion and said only the HR director can review personal records.
What does it say in there?
No, it doesn't say that.
Okay, that's what we're following.
Yeah, so you make that motion that only she can look into it.
She is the holder of all,
Yeah, I
Records?
understand that, but you make that motion because I was falsely accused, no evidence, no nothing, and I suddenly said, oh no, only she can have access to it and I cannot go further. Since after that,
okay.
it was a mess.
Show me where I made that motion.
It's in
That's
the,
what I-
it's in the public minutes, June 2011.
Show it to me. That's what I'm saying. From now
So,
on, we need to
but-
document things that we
But I don't
talk about.
understand, you make that motion now, so you're going to change that now suddenly?
If we made a motion to accept those are what we follow.
Yes, but you specifically make a motion June of 2011,
We didn't have
what you
those.
wanted.
That was not,
What you
what's the date on
wanted.
that? What's the date on
It
that?
doesn't matter, I said you make a motion what you wanted, you
Well-
said that for that policy, that is what you wanted.
I'm not gonna argue with you on that.
That is what you wanted, and now suddenly it is changed.
Mr. Chairman, can we
Because,
move forward, please?
yes, because we have a new policy. Anybody else got any comments? Any other things you want to bring up before this meeting? We will be meeting next week. We will get an agenda out, hopefully by Monday. Go ahead.
One suggestion, I talking to the people in Tamworth, and their selectmen, at the beginning of each year, or the newly elected board, they put in their minutes, or that they will be holding a work session, pick your days, the second and fourth Tuesday, the first and third Thursday, for a work session at which they can sit down and go over things like you would if you were running a business, and the public's welcome, but it's a work session for the selectmen. And I think that we ought to think about doing the same thing. If you're not gonna hold it, then you cancel it. You don't have to worry about every week getting up in two places a day ahead of time. And I just don't see how you can run a $27 million business and meet here for an hour and a half every week. And I think we ought to schedule at least one or two work sessions every week, every month, and we can cancel them if we don't need them.
Okay. When would you suggest that we have them?
I don't
Wanna
know
do it the-
everybody's schedule. During the day,
You want to do it the first and the third meeting, commissioners meeting?
how about after the commissioners' meetings?
Okay.
And we can put it on the agenda as a work session,
Okay.
and then we can cancel it if we don't
Yep.
use it.
All right, point well taken, we'll do that. Anything else to be brought up at this meeting today?
Point of order, is there gonna be another public input?
Yes, we're just getting this straightened out here first. If not, then we'll go into public input. I'm sure you must have something.
I have all kinds of things. I just wanted to be clear about why is it that we're not doing any minutes of your lawyer's sessions with the lawyer?
Say that again?
Why did you decide not to take minutes during your sessions with the lawyer?
Because we don't have to.
You don't have to, but it's not because you want to not have a record for someone to ask for later?
Legal consultation, you don't have to take minutes, it's exempt. If you have legal consultation with your attorney.
I mean, is somebody going to be taking notes or anything, or just? You just
No,
go off?
legal consultation is like a no meeting, there's no minutes.
I have maybe I just don't understand it, but this license for habitual offenders, if a judge says you're going to jail for a year and don't have a license, how are we going to say, well, here's a license and go on your merry way? I mean, I'm not sure I understand how we're going to just reinvent the law.
We're not. It has to go through the legislative process.
Okay.
And through the Senate and the House. It's just a thought. I mean, to be, a DWI is a different story, but if this is a case of someone who's get caught driving with a suspended license, 3 speeding, the kids speed every day, they get caught and they become a habitual offender. These aren't violent criminals, and we have to go. It would have to go through the legislative process. It seems to me like a reasonable idea when you consider the amount of money we're paying to keep them in jail. They get out and they can't work because they don't have a license, and so unless they can get to work with somebody else, it's non-productive.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So when you said go to the delegation, you don't mean just for a county policy, you're looking for a state law change.
Change the law in the state.
Okay, that makes sense, thank you.
Okay. Anybody? Yes.
Commissioner Sorensen, I have a rather large concern about Commissioner Kenney's. It sounds to me like it's an allegation about where the filing fee came from, where the money came from, whether it was put back in the right place, is this an appropriate use of this fund? To my knowledge, the Friends of Mountain View have never heard from her with a request,
Kenney?
with a request of where that money came from.
Right.
I've been sitting here meeting after meeting while she's brought it up, and even when she was shown documentation of where the money came from and where the money got put back into, she still continues to, it sounds to me like it's an allegation that we're hiding something. And being a Friends of the Mountain View member, that gravely concerns me, especially when it's going out to people watching this meeting. I mean, how does that appear? That just makes us sound like we're doing something wrong and we're not, we're moving money around, and especially when the request never
Can I
came.
respond on that?
The request never came to us originally, that she even had a concern about the money.
Okay, it may have been one of the meetings that you were not here, but Commissioner Kenney brought up where that money came from. Commissioner Solomon said it came out of the Doobie Trust Fund. Commissioner Solomon was wrong. She was right that it came out of a fund at the nursing home, but it wasn't the Doobie, it was the Bean Fund.
Okay.
So that's where that came from.
But do you understand my point? Is it still, and she, even when shown documentation, continues to say, well, I want to see a bank statement, I want to see, is this an appropriate use of the fund? How does that look to people in the county that, I mean, I kind of feel like she's making us out to have done something wrong.
Can I respond now to
This
that?
is all documented, we all have,
Can I respond to
And
that?
I understand that, but understand my point is she keeps saying time and time, and we've got minutes every week. First of all, I don't even know why this came up. I mean, we have nothing to hide.
right,
And again, when you get documentation, why is it continuing to be brought up?
yeah.
Okay, now
Go
I
ahead.
can respond. There is a check cut to the county. It's paid with county taxpayers' money. I don't know if you saw the check. And I was asking from which department they take it out. It said Carroll County. So taxpayers paid for it. And I asked, is it from a nursing home? Is it from a sheriff's department? From where is it? There was no answer. Later they come up, oh, it was taken from sort kind of fund. It is repaid. Commissioner Solomon said, no, it is repaid. The taxpayers paid for it, but it's repaid to a fund. And that's what I've been told by the office. They say they have documentation, it is paid by a fund. I said, which fund? The Doobie Fund. Well, after 4 weeks, when I had a bank statement, it was not paid from the Doobie Fund.
Your point?
But there is a check cut from the county.
Right, and you've been given
And now-
documentation, and you're still
Well,
unhappy.
they say first the Doobie Fund. It was the Doobie Fund, and that was inaccurate. It was never the Doobie Fund.
But you're still unhappy with this.
Now they say it is the Bean Fund. Well, I had it too when they say it is the Doobie Fund, but when I get a bank statement, it was nothing taken out.
Commissioner, what is your concern?
If it is done by taxpayers' money, it should be repaid.
And we know
Yeah,
that.
and we shouldn't be taking money out from the taxpayers, and money's not appropriated, and just pay something. I don't know what they did more than, we just,
To
pay
end
and
the
fee.
conversation, the money was taken by check out of the taxpayer fund, and it was reimbursed out of the Bean Fund back to the account. So it's a dead issue. It's documented right here in the form. So it's end of conversation,
Okay, thank you,
okay?
thank you.
Oh,
Anybody else?
well, this was the money, just to be clear, this was the money used to pay for the IRS 501c3 registration.
To set up the 501c3.
For the
right.
Friends of Mountain
Yep.
View. Okay.
so they take money from another fund going to
That's
another
it.
fund. They
Yep.
move money.
Anybody else? Yes. All right,
On these funds,
Melissa.
do the family members leave money in memory of
Yeah,
nursing home residents or?
Yeah.
Who has oversight of those
the
funds?
commissioners.
Okay, so the
Yep.
commissioners are assigned with the
Yep.
oversight of those. Okay. And then, switching gears a little bit, this is just a little technical thing. I was wondering if you might put the page numbers on your minutes. So it
Yeah.
says page 1 of 5, 2 of 5, just for later, if the pages get separated.
Good idea.
It may not
Yeah.
make sense anymore, just a little quirky thing.
Page number and date on each page.
Or and the date. And then one other quick thing, that packet that you're holding up, what is that?
It's a guide for policies.
Okay. Is that
For-
something that's been adopted by the county?
Yeah.
Or can I get a copy of that?
That
Yep.
is not
You
adopted
got,
yet.
you got a copy?
That is not adopted.
Okay.
I mean, we need to review it.
We'll let Commissioner Babson, I
Commissioner
keep calling him
Babson.
Mr. Babson, but Commissioner Babson, when he gets a chance to look at it, then we will take action on it.
Okay. And, sorry.
The date on it is 2013.
Oh, okay. So it just hasn't been adopted yet. You guys are just reviewing the draft
Right.
so far.
Yep.
I believe following your last meeting perhaps, Janice Sullivan may have given the commissioners some documentation about a suggestion to form a capital improvement committee. Did you? She said that she gave a copy to each of the
Yes.
commissioners.
We got it. Yep, that's what we were looking at this morning.
Okay.
Just wondered if you had a chance to look at it, if you had any thoughts about it.
We haven't unless Commissioner Babson has.
It was on my desk, and it's the first I've seen of it, so it seems to have some good suggestions in it.
Earlier, you said that, if people want to make an accusation against one commissioner, they have to bring documentation of it in writing, in the video.
Or against the board.
Against
individual-
anybody.
Against anybody,
Against anybody, so against anybody in the audience, against anybody present at the meeting? Is it-
yeah.
Like, what happens if I just come in and make an accusation against one of the commissioners?
We will recess the meeting, and
Open the door, I'll open the door.
we'll open the
first,
door
David.
for people to leave. And if they don't want to leave, we'll have an escort for them.
How about the JLC corrections officers that have been in the news lately? Are you going to talk about what to do with them, if anything? maybe next meeting.
Are they back to work?
Part of it, they are back to work. However, they are subject to further disciplinary action.
What does that mean?
Just what it means. They're subject to further disciplinary action. We have an attorney that is looking at the situation and will be coming back with recommendations.
So that they're off suspension, they're back to work, but, so they're back to work pending a further investigation?
Further investigation and further disciplinary action.
Still have to go to court, don't they?
They've been
They've been to court already, yeah. And we waited for a court decision before we put them back to work. You must have attended the court
I did.
decision, so you know what they got for their penalty.
Right.
The commissioners will review whatever the attorney comes up with. Personally, I don't feel that it's enough of what they got from the court.
Were they found guilty?
What, off the top, maybe I should talk about this later. I just don't want to miss.
You don't have any problem with public input?
No, I don't. I just don't want. I don't want to get it wrong. If I say.
I didn't want to get it wrong either.
Okay, well, let's wait then, you tell me.
Yes.
Can you confirm whether or not the sheriff's department from a different county is doing any investigations into the jail, any matters at the jail?
That's non-public information.
How about the shooting with the deputy's accidental shooting?
I heard about it, I don't know any of the details. I'm sure the sheriff's department is having an internal investigation. Okay? Anything further? Yes?
I know I missed a couple of meetings, and I didn't remember seeing this in the minutes. It was back in October. You had a RFP out about the telecommunications update. Did you ever,
For the jail,
did this ever get,
we had at least three bids that came in, and we put that off. We didn't put it in the budget. We put it off for another year.
okay,
There was other priorities that need to be looked at first.
okay, so this is a
Okay.
dead issue. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Babson? Commissioner Babson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, these funds that we have, the Doobie Fund and the Bean Fund, and the commissioners are in charge of the fund. I dare say that none of us are investment counselors, and that it probably just gets stuffed into a CD somewhere or a savings
The
account.
county treasurer is responsible for them?
Do we have, does the county have the right, I know in municipal government, in some cases, they can't invest in anything but a savings account or a CD. Do we have the authority to, if we found a financial advisor that would volunteer their time for the little money that there is, that we might invest some of it and have it grow over the years rather than increase it 0.25% a year?
I'm sure it's a possibility. We'd have to talk to the treasurer, have the treasurer come in and give us a report, or we can ask that he give us a written report as to how those funds are invested presently.
Can you tell me?
I don't think there is a great deal of money in those
No,
funds.
there isn't. Can you tell me when was the last time the Board of Commissioners looked at these two accounts and did anything with them other than leave them where they are?
We leave them with, it's the responsibility of the treasurer to invest the county dollars.
And these are considered county dollars?
They're not taxpayers' dollars, but they're county dollars that are
I
invested
know they're not taxpayers, but they are
Yeah.
considered, they come under his
under his jurisdiction.
jurisdiction.
Yep.
Okay.
Anything else to be brought up today?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Was the treasurer sworn in?
Say that again?
Has the county treasurer been sworn in?
I don't know if he has yet or
I just
not.
realized he wasn't there. Jeff?
No, but he,
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
okay. You got something else you want?
Yes, we're talking, I didn't know before that we had funds. Why didn't, if the commissioners are in charge, what you say, why don't we see on a regular basis the statements and what is in these funds, and also the purpose, why it is set up, and how many funds are there? Because I was surprised that it was a Doobie Fund, I never heard of it.
It was,
Then I hear money came from the Doobie Fund, then one it was not from there. Now I hear we have a Bean Fund. So
think the
how
Bean-
many funds does the county has? And why are we not getting an update? Or why are we not getting
if
any
you check,
documentation?
if you check with our financial officer, Kathy Gary, she will fill you in exactly on what funds are there. I believe the Bean Fund is extinguished, terminated. There are no longer funds in that particular fund.
There's
The
no
Doobie
money.
Trust Fund is still there.
There's gotta be money in the Doobie Fund, because we just paid for the,
There's no money in the Bean Fund, you said, no?
There's no longer any money. It's been used up over the years. That was established before my time. The Doobie Trust Fund was established since my time.
So we have two funds, that's it, the Doobie Fund?
Check with the financial officer downstairs.
But you're 12 years here.
she'll tell you.
You know if there are
She'll
more
tell-
funds
Well, you've been
on it.
here how many years?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna argue with you. Go ahead.
Oh, well, question, how many terms have you been chairman for?
I don't know. With the exception of, I came in when Brenda Presby was chairman. I'm not sure whether Marge Webster was a chairman or not.
not since I've been on, that's 20 years.
Okay, then she hasn't. Her name is on the seat over at the jail as chairman. I know that, I just happened to see that.
Chairman of the building committee, chairman of the board of...
Well, it was the three commissioners that were on it, so I'm assuming it was the Board of Commissioners.
I don't think so.
So over 10 years or 6 years?
Have I been chairman?
Yeah.
I would say out of the 12, I've probably been 8 years.
Okay.
That's guessing.
Okay.
I know Brenda was chairman for a couple of years.
For the majority of your 12-year experience?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Brenda was chairman in 90, 94, and 96, my first two terms, and then I think it switched over. You have been the chairman in 1998? Or could
Okay.
she have gone one more term?
I don't know. I'd have to look at the records. I'm sure we got it.
Is this important?
Is it
David?
important?
Is this-
Well, I just thought I'd throw it in that
You got a few lines you gotta fill in your paper article?
You've been chair for a while, that's all. Just give the reader some background.
Let me say, it's a privilege to be the chairman. I try the best I can to be fair to everybody. And in fact, I've been criticized by being over-fair with letting the general public speak a lot longer than they should and talk about subjects that should be shut off. But that's the way I have done things in the past. Hopefully, we're going to make some new changes for this year. Okay? Can I hear it?
I did forget to ask, when's this coming out, the report?
It's supposed to come out in February.
February?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sure you'll ask that again. Before we leave, we talked about members of the walking committee, walking trail, and friends of the Mountain View Nursing Home. And I had said that we'd try to set up a meeting by the middle of January. We need to do something about that and get that committee working. I know the Boy Scouts are anxious to get started. They want to come and report to that committee as to what they can do as far as a bridge or for different stops along the trail. So does any member of the board have a suggestion as to who we might make as the chairman or ask to be chairman? We have Will DeWitt, Commissioner Babson now. He was a volunteer prior to that. And Susan LeClaire, recreation director of the nursing home. Seems like there were more people talked about being on that committee, but I know the forester was.
Wendy Scribner.
Yeah, Wendy Scribner. Any comments from members of the board? How we should proceed?
I would think that we would get somebody from the nursing home to head it up. They're gonna be the ones that use it 90% of the time. And have them be the chairman, maybe have Howie figure out which one of his leaders should do the work, and go from there, because we should get it started.
Okay. I will talk with Howie regarding that. Anything else to be brought up this morning? If not, could I hear a motion to
I'll make a
adjourn?
motion to adjourn.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded that we adjourn our meeting today. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
And so voted.
This came from
11.
Jan. Don't sign it.
Send it to the time.
That's what we talked about. Maybe sign it.